Lucian, good morning. All right, getting the live stream going on YouTube. Morning, Matt. Okay, I think we're all set to go. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, all the RLT traders out there and people who might be watching on YouTube or watching this later. This is Stephen King. I'm going to be with you this morning from 9 to 10, and then Johnny will be coming on at 10. This is another one of the Beginner Fridays. This is when we slow things down and we take our time and we focus on the new and developing traders, people who might need a little extra help or have questions that need to be answered, anything that is anything that will help you with your trading. And so this is, again, your time to ask questions. And if you don't, if you don't have any, that's okay. But hopefully I've got some people here who are going to need a little help, have questions. We will start by reviewing the market. And what I want to tell you is I am coming to you live this morning from Lake Opinican, which is outside of Kingston, Ontario. It's part of the Rideau Canal. So for any of you in Canada, in Ontario, who might know that area, that's where I am today. I drove here yesterday. Looks like I missed a really good day in the market yesterday. Everything looked like it was pretty bullish yesterday. So hopefully, give me a one in the panel. Did you trade yesterday? And if you made money yesterday, give me like a bunch of ones. Awesome. Great. Jay, Linder, Lucian, Matt, looks like you guys all made money. Tony, great. Yeah, I was driving, it's a 7-hour drive for me. So, and I was with my daughter, and during the drive, I get this pop-up from Interactive Brokers saying that my account was up X amount. So I knew it was a pretty good bullish day. And then finally got to check out the charts and see what happened yesterday. So, all right, let's take a look and let's review the markets where we are. So right now, what we're looking at is we have the S&P here. We have the NASDAQ here. And I think one of you already mentioned that the market is retesting pretty hard. And yes, it is. It was already trading down a little bit, and then we had a pretty big drop right here at 825. Looks like 830, both on the S&P as well as the NASDAQ. So what we're looking at here is, as of right now, is we're looking at what will be a gap down on SPY in the Qs, most likely. But because it's a green candle and it's gapping down, but it's not going to gap below, certainly won't gap below yesterday's low. So it's just going to be a gap down off of yesterday's high. So what we're potentially looking at realistically here is an inside day, and inside days for me usually mean chop. So we're going to take a look at all the different tickers that we follow in a second here, but I'm just trying to establish for myself what to expect when the market opens and how I'm going to approach trading today. And again, from what I've seen right now, and the indications are that we will experience some chop today if we open within yesterday's range, and that looks to be the case. But just one thing to note here on the NASDAQ here, we do have this 50 right above our price area. We have made a double top here. So you can see we've done this high here, the high here. So we're looking at a double top. Also similar look here on the S&P, although we didn't make it right to the highs, but still double top ish. So Tony's saying, so it's not a bearish gap and go because we didn't gap down below yesterday's green. Correct, Tony. Yeah. So in order for today's gap to be a gap and go, it would have to clear yesterday's low. And right now, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. If you look here on the S&P here, this is the candle that's forming today compared to yesterday and here. So yes, we are right now we're gapping down a little bit from yesterday's high, but we are certainly not clearing the lows from yesterday. So that would not be a gap and go. It's it's gonna be a minor gap down. So you would not expect it to run like a gap and go. It's just, but it will be an inside day more than likely. So again, the SPY and the Qs here are just a representation of the S&P and the Qs, NASDAQ, right? So it's going to follow similar. So it's, we'll probably open in this range here for SPY and here for the Qs. So, okay, good. I'm glad that makes sense, Tony. So good question, right? Because for clarification, you do want to know, when do I technically have a gap and go? So it would have to clear the low of yesterday. But one thing I just want to point out to you here. So we have a similar look here, right? This shape here, right? So come up, double top. We're right underneath this moving average here. The moving average, and this is the 50 on the daily. The moving average here for the S&P is a little bit higher, but still we're double top-ish here. We're double top here. So this shape here, right? If you look here, looks kind of like a cup. This looks like a kind of like a cup. Okay. So there is a candle formation out there called a cup and handle. Is everyone here? Give me a one if you're familiar with that term, cup and handle. Great. Cool. Good deal. Okay, great. So a lot of you understand what I'm talking about. So what would be interesting to watch for the next several days? So next week, right? So we double top here. Let's see how the day closes. But if we can pull back a little bit here on the daily, right? So just pull back a little bit here and then look for it to go up, right? So that would be the cup, the pullback, and it would be like 2 or 3 bars. So we already have one forming today. So it could be Monday, Tuesday, and then it goes up, or just Monday, it goes up. But we do have a similar look, obviously, here on the SPY and the Qs. So that's what I'm going to be looking for next week is, let's see how today turns out. If the indications of what we're looking at for today, if we end up with somewhat of a bearish candle here, and then we get a little bit of a pullback Monday next week, and then it goes up, or Tuesday. So keep an eye on that. That's what I'm going to be looking for when it comes to the SPY and the Qs. All right, let me switch up our screen share. Let me go to, okay. So you should see a chart right now of, oh, Andrew. So yes. So a cup and handle formation is definitely a bullish indication. So it's, you get this high here, it pulls back, comes up, it retests it, right? So look at all these bullish days in a row here, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 nice bullish days in a row. We get to the top here, double top it. So just like, just like a person, right? If you're running as fast as you can, full sprint up a hill, at some point you're going to run out of steam and you got to slow down and walk for a little bit, right? So when you slow down, you walk for a little bit, that's where it pulls back a tiny bit. Then you get your breath back, you get your energy back, and then you start sprinting again. So that's how I look at and how I view the whole cup and handle formation, right? So sprinting up the hill, slow down, walk for a little bit, get your breath back, your energy, and then it takes off again. So that's what I'm looking for. Again, I don't know if that's, I don't have a crystal ball. I would love to say that I do, but that's what I'm going to be looking for. So, we'll wait, see how today pans out, and then we'll look and see what Monday and Tuesday are like. But you should see my screen right now of Twitter. Just give me a 1 if you can see Twitter. Great, cool. Okay, so Twitter is not on our list of the 10 EMA tickers that we trade, but I I do have it here on a separate list. I'm going to watch it because, so Tony, right, you were asking about the gap and go, right? So if we look at Twitter, right, Twitter yesterday closed up here, but let's just mark the low of Twitter, okay? So right now, if you look at where the low of Twitter was yesterday, and also notice how this is also another thing to pay attention to, right? So Twitter had came off this low here and had several days of bullish activity, a little bit, well, not a little bit, an indecision candle here, but then yesterday, think about it, at one point that would have been a pretty good bullish candle, right? But look at the high wick there. So at one point it was a very big bullish candle and then it sold off. So the bear stepped in, pushed it down, okay? So here's this high upper wick, right? So this could be viewed as a shooting star, right? So you push up, you get this high upper wick. Now that's a bearish, potentially bearish indication, right? Because it was very bullish at one point, sold off. You get this high upper wick. Now you look at what's going on, and there's a news catalyst. So if you go down here and I always look for, when I see a gap, I always look to see, okay, well, what's the catalyst? What's going on? What's making it? So it says here that Elon Musk's deal for Twitter reportedly in jeopardy. So that could be what's causing this. And if you notice here, pre-market, you got a big drop right here. So this is a gap and go. I'm going to keep an eye on. Again, it's not one that we trade with the EMA strategy, but I am going to keep an eye on it and see if a trade sets up. But that, Tony, is your gap and go. That's what a bearish gap and go. That's what that would look like. Again, you can see that right now, and we still have 15 minutes before market open, but you can see that the price action is below the low of yesterday's candle. So, all right, let's go to the tickers that we follow for the 10 EMA strategy. And let's just take a look. So Tesla, right? Big day yesterday. Let me just zoom in a little bit here. Okay. So Tesla, big day, strong bullish candle. Yeah. So Tony, so I would, based on that gap and go for Twitter, I would be looking for it to go lower. I would be looking for it to sell off today. But so here's Tesla from yesterday, big bullish candle. Now, a couple things to note. Okay. If I zoom in here, okay, I have marked off this green line here and here. That is yesterday's high, yesterday's low. So you can see that currently we are trading under the high of yesterday, right? So we're inside yesterday's range. The other things to note here on the daily, okay, if I just look left here, right? So I always tell my coaching students, always look left, right? Find on the daily, just look and see where that support is, support resistance, right? So if you look here, you can clearly see there is a level of support resistance right here. This area here, I will color code that just to make it easier to see. Let's make it, this color right here. And let's make it a little thicker just so it's easy to see, right? So here's that line that I just dropped in, right? So not surprisingly, Tesla got up to that level yesterday. It broke it, came back down, and it looked like it closed right around that level, okay? So the other thing to note is that if I zoom in here, okay, I know there's a lot of lines, but I'll explain what this is. So right here, this jagged line that you kind of see here, that is the weekly 100. Okay, so I've mentioned before, I have my higher time frame moving averages plotted on my daily. So I know right away looking at this screen that the weekly 100 is right here, right? Here's this line that I just dropped in, that's the support resistance. So what I'm looking at here is all the different levels of support resistance and moving averages that are potentially holding Tesla back here. Okay, so you have the weekly 100, you have this is the daily 50 coming down, you have this support resistance level that I just drew. So there's several things here that are overhead resistance for Tesla. So just something to be aware of. I'm gonna remove that line. Other lines that I've drawn here, if we zoom in, so I've got the high from today, pre-market, the low, right? And you can see we're just trading in this range, right? So right now, pre-market, we're just trading in this range between the high and the low. Okay, so I'm going to be patient with everything today. I'm not going to be jumping into anything right away. I'm going to be watching it. I'm going to be, you know, I've been trying to do this thing where I try to wait at least maybe an hour after the market opens before I take a trade, just because it tends to be very choppy, especially on Fridays. Fridays are my least favorite day to trade. It's also the day that I have the worst results. So maybe there's a correlation there. Okay. Nvidia. Okay. And also to note, okay, that the price action on Tesla, right? Because we were just looking at that because Nvidia is the similar look. Right now, the price action on Tesla is below the major daily and weekly moving averages in terms of the 50 and the 100, right? So same kind of look here. This is the daily 50 coming down here on Nvidia. Here's the weekly 100. Here's the daily 100. So again, strong day yesterday on Nvidia. We are overhead resistance here. This is the daily 20 right here. Here's the daily 10. So we closed above the 10. So that's good that we got above that. I've marked off the high and the low here, the green lines. If I zoom in here a little bit, you can see high, low. Again, you always want to know what the high and the low are of the previous day, right? So, because if you're trading within that range, you know you can expect some chop. It's not until you break the high and the low that we really pick a direction, and then you can have a real good sense for how to play it, whether you're going to play it bullish or bearish. Otherwise, if you're trading it and it is an inside candle, you want to be, at least I do. I want to be quick with my exits. I don't want to look to hold it as long as I would if there was a clear trend in one direction. I'm going to adjust this line here. We have a, didn't want to duplicate that. Hang on. Let's move this down. So I did all these lines a little bit earlier. So move all this down. So I have currently this is the pre-market low. Again, you want to be aware of where the pre-market low and the pre-market high are. You want to look to, this is all the information you need leading into the open. Okay. So you can kind of see that here, Nvidia initially had moved up and then it sold off, right? Pre-market. So keep an eye on that. And so we want to see if we end up, we're going to follow the markets. We're going to see where which direction the markets are headed. And then we will also keep an eye on this low on Nvidia, see if that gets broken. Amazon. Now, Amazon and now, so I'm going to talk about Apple, but Apple is no longer on our 10 EMA list, but I am going to talk about it because Amazon and Apple have similar looks. So unlike Tesla and Nvidia, Apple yesterday closed above a major daily moving average. So yesterday, Apple got above this is the daily 50, got above and closed. Okay, so that's a good sign, right? So this is the first time in quite some time that Amazon has closed above the that's Amazon. So it's the first. What I'm saying, Greg, I don't know if I'm going to compare Amazon and Apple because they have similar looks. Okay, so Amazon here closed above the daily 50, which is a good sign, right? Again, first time in a while it's been above it. The other thing to note here, if I zoom in. So this is the daily 10 and the daily 20. And you notice how they're crossing, right? So they're starting to cross over, and that's a good support sign, right? So price action is above that. So this, again, the first time that these moving averages have crossed in a while. Last time was here, and that was a bearish. See how the 10 crossed below and under the 20, right? So now it's crossing back. So could be a bullish sign there. Again, I'm still expecting some chop here. If you look at the pre-market price action, right? So here's the high, here's the low, the green lines. That's the high and the low of yesterday. We are trading within that range. But something to note here is that price is, so here's that daily 50, right? Right here. So on the intraday, on the pre-market, that's where price currently is holding. It dipped below it earlier, but now it's holding that level. So that's going to be a key battleground right there that I'm going to keep an eye on. And again, here's the this is the intraday. It's a 5-minute chart. I will be switching that to a 3, but here's the 20 and the 10 on the daily down here. So again, you always want to be able to see those on your intraday charts. Okay, let's go to Delta, which I often refer to as Dallas, but I got it right that time. Delta. Okay. So Delta yesterday. So interesting couple days for Delta. While the other tickers that we follow had very strong days the last couple of days, look at what Delta's done, right? So strong bullish day here, right? And that was actually the high and the low, just to note, I'm sorry, the high 29.83, the close 29.82. So basically a shaved top candle, right? Right here. That's a very strong bullish sign, right? So there was basically buying right up until the close. You didn't have any upper wick here, right? So strong buying right into the close, but then it was followed up by 2 indecision days, right? So you have these dojis here, right? Indecision. So this will be interesting to watch Delta and see on the daily chart, just to see how it reacts to that, right? So these indecision candles are just, there's not a direction really that's specified right now, because it did break the high of this candle, but it came back and it closed inside of it, right down here. Now, yesterday, let's just take a look here. The high of this was 29.18. The high of this, 29.20. Okay, so it did break it by a couple pennies, but closed within this candle. So certainly not as strong as the others. This is the daily 10 here that's holding it down. So be interesting to watch Delta in the next couple of days just to see what that does. Again, trading inside yesterday's range. So again, expect chop here. Let's see. Apple. I mentioned Apple. Let me know. We got 5 more minutes before market open. Let me know if anybody has any questions at all. Anything you want me to take a look at, but I'll just mention Apple here. Again, this is not on our 10 EMA strategy list, but similar look and feel, as I mentioned, to Amazon, right? So Apple yesterday closed above this 50 right here, right? First time in a while, quite some time that it's closed above it. So it did close above it, and that's a very strong candle, right? Really strong candle yesterday, closed up near the highs. So we talked about this the other day. I was commenting in the chat the other day when Maloney was running the room. And when I see big days like this, especially on a shaved top candle, now it didn't exactly do it fully here, but I do often look for it to retest, to come back down into about 30% of the top of the candle here. So somewhere about where it is now, right? And so this 50, right? This daily 50 is right about where I would be looking for some type of an area to buy. Okay, so where this bounces. Now we're currently trading right around that range here. So here, this blue line, that is the 50. So keep an eye on that. That's going to be an important battleground. Let me adjust this line right here, move this down. Okay, so that's the low from pre-market. Here's the high from pre-market here. So I will be keeping an eye on this level right here. Again, we are inside yesterday's range. So be expecting some gap there. Let's see. Oh, the other thing again that is the same as Amazon is that here's the cross of the. You zoom out here a little bit. Here's the cross of the 10 crossing the 20 on the daily. Again, that hasn't happened in a while, right? So this could be a nice overall nice bullish look for Apple potentially getting above this 50. One thing I do tell a lot of, and Stephen, I will get to that WFC in a second, but one thing that I do mention, and I also often tell the, oh, Stephen says, never mind, the WFC has the weekly SMA in the way. The other thing I will mention that I often will tell my my newer trading students is that, you know, a simple rule for a new trader is if you're above the 50 on the daily, be bullish. If you're below the 50 on the daily, be bearish, right? And it's a simple rule to follow, especially if you're doing swing trading. Above the 50, look to go bullish. Below the 50, so that's kind of just a rule of thumb. Let's see. Andrew's saying that Nvidia is now looking like a gap and go. Was okay. Yeah, so it is right down there at the right down here at that low, right? Yesterday's low. So we'll keep an eye on that. All right, I'm going to sign off on YouTube. If you are all of you who might be following along on YouTube on this live stream, feel free to head on over to reallifetrading.com. You can join this great community, subscribe to the YouTube Real Life Trading YouTube channel. You know, we do this every single day of the week with a great community. So feel free to come join us and trade with us.